Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm taking you behind the future.
Welcome to Behind the Future. I have my fabulous co-host Kaya with me here today. Hi, Kaya.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a Year 12 student at Mason Grammar School for Girls, studying media, dance and drama.
Fantastic. And a pro on the podcast now, so excited to have you back. Thank you for being with us. And then we have Mike.
Hello.
Welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Mike. I am the Search Strategist and founder of Tangible Digital, and I work with clients on search engine optimization. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
Perfect. We're going to dig all into all of that and everything before. But I'm going to hand over to Kaya for the first question.
My first question, what inspired you to go into tech, and what age did you decide that tech was where you wanted to go?
Yeah, so from a really young age, I was always the one in the family with the technical skills. If someone had a technical problem, they would come to me. You know, my dad would come back with these computers from his work. So I had a lot of experience with, you know, the computers and, you know, the internet from back in the day. So yeah, that's kind of what inspired me to get into tech, is that I've kind of always sort of grown up with it and loved it from that time, really.
And once you become that person, you can't unbecome that person, can you?
Yeah, and even if it's not a problem that, you know, I'm not specialised to, you know, to do, there's always the case where someone will be like, you know, I've got this problem with my phone. So yeah. It's one of those. The
amount of laptops I've been asked to fix, and I have no idea how to fix a laptop. Yeah. But yeah, you just get bucketed, don't you?
Yeah.
It's, so age 10, you're already playing around with computers, etc. Did you do A levels?
Yeah, I did A levels. So I did IT, I did biology, I did chemistry, and I didn't actually do business studies for my A levels. That was the A levels that I did. So I think probably the lowest grade I actually got was in IT, which is the strangest thing, obviously, being in that industry now.
And that's often the case, isn't it? We do these A-levels because we don't really know what our job's going to end up being, and they often end up unrelated, but actually you are gathering skills while you're studying, albeit you don't always quite realise what they are at the time.
Yeah, I think you can only really just sort of go with interest at that age, you know, and just try and pick things that are interesting to you. Yeah, I mean, some of my A-levels were kind of related in a way. You know, biology, you're kind of thinking, you're thinking in a way that's a little bit more abstract, which is kind of what I'm doing with SEO, you know, these days. So there's lots of sort of transferable thinking as well.
100%. And did you go on to university?
Yes, yeah. So I went on to Canterbury Christchurch University. I studied business studies with entrepreneurship. So always been interested in entrepreneurship, business. I was that kid, you know, on the playground selling, you know, sweets and stuff, you know, drawing Pokemon pictures and selling them. So
love that.
I've kind of combined the digital side with the entrepreneurship side. So
love that. Were you good at drawing Pokemon?
Yeah, I mean, I traced a lot of them, to be honest. Don't tell the people that I sold it to. But
I love that. I love that. And did you realise that you were being entrepreneurial at that point? Did it stand out that this is going to be, I'm going to make stuff and sell stuff one day, or?
Yeah, I think it kind of did. So I kind of got the bug of it. So, I used to do things like, do you remember those Kanye West sunglasses?
Yeah.
You know, I bought a bulk of those, me and a friend. We used just to go around and sell those. You know, you buy it for £2, you sell it for 10.
Love that.
You just get like a real buzz from it, and you kind of realise there isn't just one way to make money. You know, you can work for a company; they'll pay you directly, but you can make your own money if you're able to kind of think in that way. So, yeah, definitely.
And I feel like there's more stories we can uncover of things that you've bought and sold over the years.
A few I won't say.
Oh dear. Okay. And how was the uni experience?
I loved it. Yeah, uni was probably, I always say it was probably the best 3 years. One of the best 3 years of my life. So met so many people, so many skills. The course that I did was very specific. I think there was only maybe 2 universities in the whole of the country offering an entrepreneurship type course. One just happened to be in Canterbury. So I learned a lot there. I met a lot of people there. You know, I'm still in contact with most of the people that I kind of was on the course with there. a lot of them have grown on sort of doing their own business as well. So, it's a place that you kind of really learn about yourself. Obviously, you're learning some skills and technical things in lectures and seminars, but really you're there to kind of learn about yourself, how you work. Can you work with other people? Can you put reports together? Can you keep to deadlines? Can you organise yourself? And I think that's the key thing, definitely, that I took from uni.
Did you live down there as well?
Yeah, lived in
so can you feed yourself?
Yeah,
can you
feed myself?
Look after yourself? All those important things as well. Oh.
Yeah, all of those things. So yeah, absolutely loved it for sure.
Love that. And what happened after uni? What was your first foray into work?
I got so like most people, I was just looking for sort of graduate schemes. I had the opportunity to kind of go into my dad's area of work potentially, but I was kind of looking for something a bit more creative, but also technical as well. So I think I have those two things that I really love. I like the technical side of things, the creative side of things, and I think that's why I was kind of looking for like a digital marketing or like an SEO type role. I mean, I didn't know what SEO was at the time, but you look at the job descriptions and it sort of gives you, can you do reports? Can you write content? Do you come from like a computer background sort of thing? So all of those things sort of tick the box really. So yeah, I looked for a graduate scheme. There was one in Canterbury, a company called Extra Digital, who were looking for graduates. And then I got a job there. So I was there for 4 years. I think my title was SEO account manager. Mm-hmm. And what you'll find is if you go into a more established company, you have specific roles, for someone to do the SEO, someone to do the account management side of things, someone to do the sales. When you go into like a smaller company, more of like a startup, you're basically doing all those roles. So it was a really good start for me because I was doing the actual work. I was speaking with the clients. I was making the tea. I was doing the sales as well. So all of those things kind of really sort of develop you as a person when you're sort of thrown in at the deep end like that.
I do love that about when you join a small company. Like you are much more likely to get more rounded skills, whereas if you are in 1,000-person company, like you do your bit, and it's really hard to step into anyone else's lane. But in a small company, it's like something's happened. Quick! I need someone to do this, and or suddenly someone's off sick, and can you take the sales call today? I've never done a sales call before. Okay, cool. I'll give it a go. And it's just you just get on with it, don't you?
Yeah, you get on with it, and it's difficult because like you're learning stuff that I remember when I first started, I was in fear most of the time, until you get to that point where you kind of become comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I would advise students that are coming out of uni to get these jobs. It feels like there's a lot of pressure on you because you're, a hotshot uni student, coming out with a degree. You have to be comfortable with knowing that you don't know anything, and you just need to go in there with a completely sort of open mind and not put too much pressure on yourself, because I used to put so much pressure on myself as just starting out in my career to kind of have it all figured out and to be perfect, and it just really isn't the case. You just have to learn to be comfortable with mistakes. It's the only way you learn, really.
Yeah. And how, when you're working in a company but you have this entrepreneurial itch, was it starting to be quite itchy at this point, or was it like, actually, this is really good, I'm learning some skills that I'll be able to use later on when I can go and do this?
So it probably wasn't until maybe a few years into my career, once I'd learnt some technical skills, that I thought, hang on a minute, I could probably do this for myself, So I was, most of the time, evenings and weekends, just experimenting, just building stuff. I think I'm the biggest advocate of, if you want to learn something, you have to just roll your sleeves up and kind of just build something for yourself. Make all of the mistakes. Sometimes when you're working with client work, you can't afford to make mistakes with the client work. But if you've got your own stuff, you can kind of cut your teeth on it, so to speak. So,
and what does that realistically mean? Because I guess someone listening to the podcast might be like, but build what? Like, so you were just starting to build websites?
Yeah, I was building websites. I was building... So one of the first websites that I built was maybe a few years later. Do you remember those fidget spinners? You know, those toys? Seeing them all over, you know, Instagram and Facebook. And I just saw that there wasn't really anyone selling any of those basically online. So I just thought it would be a good learning experience to kind of learn how to, you know, buy a domain, get your hosting, get your website live, optimize your, you know, use the SEO skills that I've been building to optimize the website to kind of get traffic, and just see how it goes really. And yeah, it was amazing. So like in the first maybe 30 days, I think the website had maybe 40,000 views or something.
Wow.
And was getting, you know, sales. Wasn't a huge amount of sales, but you know that you get that first sort of $4.99 hit your account, and you just get really excited because you're just like, wow, I built something that didn't exist yesterday, and now it's sort of out in the world and people are interacting with it. It's just such a crazy feeling.
But they're paying me money.
Yeah.
So and also, so you had to then go and buy the stock and.
Yeah, I had to learn how to. So it's not just the technical skills. You've got to learn how to. You know, we were buying stock from China, I think. Learning how to buy that stock, learning the mistakes that, you know, you think that this is the price that you're paying when you're buying products from a different country. Actually, you've got to pay your duty. You've got to pay VAT. You've got to pay all these things that you get in the mail, maybe like 6 months later. So there's lots of things that I learned from that little experiment, really.
Yeah. Do you think with AI now, do you think you might have found out some of those things because it would have said, make sure you think about this, Mike, these things are going to happen? Or
I don't know, because sometimes you don't really know what you don't know. So
yeah,
if
so
you don't know what
to
you don't know to ask. You know, there's even the things now that I'm learning. I'm kind of, you know, you implement something, you go, and something happens, you go, oh, I didn't actually know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think AI is very empowering for accelerating the process of getting something out there now. You know, you don't have to learn as much technical skills to get a website up, you know, from scratch. But yeah, you'll still need to learn a lot along the way.
yeah, and those mistakes, they're the things that where you really learn, aren't they? Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing better than learning from a mistake, as opposed to learning when it went well. You end up a bit cocky sometimes, and
Yeah.
you're not you don't really realise what you have or you haven't learned.
Yeah.
When it goes wrong, you really learn.
Yeah, and the sooner things can go wrong, the quicker you learn. So that's you want to accelerate the learning as quickly as possible. So that's why I always say, you know, going back to the point I made about when you're first starting out your role, don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect, because you're going to make mistakes, and but those mistakes will serve you more than the successes, you know, when you get to 10, 15 years into your career.
And so at Extra Digital, you've got this first job. So you didn't know what SEO was. I'm just thinking, depending on whether they've listened to our episodes before, the audience might not know what SEO is. So what kind of work were you doing?
So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. So it's effectively how do I get my clients' websites to be more visible in search or appear in search when people are looking for their goods and services. What it actually means is there are several things that you would do to a website to improve it, and several things that Google's looking for. So that's writing content, making sure the site is technically sound and crawlable, making sure that you're also not just working on your on-site things. There's things that you would do off-site, so getting links from other websites, and the other side of it is obviously the client management side of things. But yeah, that's effectively what SEO is in general. That's what I would do on a day-to-day basis, or coordinate some of my team to do.
And I guess some of the cool things about, and I'm biased because I love SEO, is that it's always changing. Like at the moment, it's all about how do I show up on ChatGPT, and And it's just this constant evolution. So anyone that's thinking about going into this industry, you've got to be comfortable with change, because what was right yesterday, and especially it really is like yesterday to today at the moment.
Yeah.
It's we went through a big phase where it was kind of month to month, certain things might change, and it wasn't changing that much. And still, I don't feel like it really has changed that much, but there are more considerations. There's more things to be thinking about right now.
Yeah, so much. You know, I mean, I've been doing it for 14 years now, and I think the last 2 years have been the most change. You know,
Yeah.
from what we were doing before. I mean, a lot of the fundamentals still remain, and there are lots of things that are, I suppose, fads at the moment. You know, lots of people jumping on shiny objects, but it always comes back down to the same thing. And I think those of us who've been doing SEO for so long, these are the things that we have always spoken about, you know,
Yeah.
like building great content from your expertise, treating the SEO as if you're building a business, you know. It's not about ticks and like tricks and things. It's about how can I get my business out there? What other websites would be interested to hear, you know, to feature my business? Those are the things that we've always done over time, and I think that there will be still. Even now, the search behavior has changed. People are using ChatGPT. Even ChatGPT is using, you know, Google's index to recall content. So the fundamentals of what we're doing is the same.
Yeah.
It's just that the behavior has changed.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting what you said there, Mike, because you brought it back to business, though. And I think that's one of the reasons. And now, spoiler alert, I've known Mike many years, because actually the next job in his career was working at Refit Digital. So I've seen him grow and go on to run his own thing. But the thing that you've always had about you is bringing it back to business, because there is no point in just being someone that goes, oh, I work in SEO, I just write the content. Like, but why do you write the content?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I write the content because I want it to rank higher, because I want the client to be able to sell more of their fidget spinners or whatever it is that they're trying to sell. And actually, if you don't fully understand the link, the business link, it really holds you back. Like, you're just a cog, as opposed to being able to really take some leadership and be able to grow and end up running your own thing.
Yeah, I think you always have to have that sort of commercial. I think at the end of the day, SEO and PPC and the rest of the digital marketing channels are there to help our clients to build their businesses and to make money. So you have to always sort of keep that in mind with all the activities that you're doing with SEO. I always find that is the language that clients speak as well. So, you know, they don't care about alt tags and backlinks and all of those things. At the end of the day, I need to show them a report that says you spent X amount, or you have invested this is what we have done, this is the result from it, this is the business that you've gained from it. So you always need to keep that link in, and I think especially with AI search, you still need to have that mindset of, is ChatGPT bringing in business, you know, that you know, paying customers, or is it still Google? Because there's been so much hype about AI search. Really, you look at the reports and you think, actually, Google was still responsible for the majority of your revenue coming in. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. So, yeah, always have that commercial outlook.
Yeah, people do get excited about fads.
Yeah.
And over your 14 years, you'll have seen lots of those fads. I still, when mobile first came out and everyone was like, we've got to have a mobile optimized website. And it wasn't really a fad because it had to happen. But some of we've got to get a mobile app. That was more the fad of, I don't think you need an app. And I don't know about you, but there's, I don't know, probably about 5 or 6 apps I use regularly on my phone, and then a ton that I never ever open. And that's the problem if it's in an app. But
yeah, so many of those things, they come and go. And I think, you know, it's frustrating. You go on LinkedIn and you see SEO is dead every year or 2 years, and there's always a new thing that has potentially killed SEO, but then it comes back even stronger, and it's even more important these days than it has been, you know, at any point in my career. So yeah, I think you just have to try and focus on what has always worked, and always keep your mind open though, because there's lots of things that, you know, there will be fads and things that you have to look into and take seriously. But you just have to, over a time, you can kind of make your own judgments as to, is this something that I should be doing, or is it something that everyone is kind of jumping on and it's going to fizzle out in a few months' time?
Staring at a blank screen trying to figure out what happens after school or college, university, apprenticeships, T-levels, it's a lot to take in. But what if you could speak directly to the people who are actually hiring? NAS Events brings you events like the National Apprenticeship Show, London School and College Leavers Show, and many more. They run the UK's top career events designed specifically for students aged 15 and up. These aren't just your boring careers fairs, we're talking interactive hands-on experiences where you can meet the country's biggest employers and top universities face to face. Whether you're looking for an entry-level role, a degree apprenticeship, or a pathway into higher education, this is a regional show near you. From London and Bristol to Scotland and Newcastle. The best part, it's completely free to attend. Don't just scroll through job descriptions, come and try out new skills, get expert advice, and find career paths that actually fit you. Ready to take the next step? Head over to nasevents.co.uk to find the nearest event and register for your free place today.
And I actually think in this day and age, having a point of view and being able to use your experience to say what you think's a fad and what not is really important, because clients don't want, I don't really know, so we're going to do a bit of this in case it's not a fad. Like, they want to know, tell me your gut, I trust you, Mike, 14 years doing this, what's going on? And you have to kind of just put your name to stuff and get on, and we might be wrong on some things, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think, and that's the harder thing these days. You know, you have to kind of pick a lane and kind of stick to it. But on the same lines, sometimes you have to be honest and say SEO isn't right. You know, you can, for example, I had another business thing that I set up was like lead generation sites, and these were websites that I set up. I wrote a lot of content for like roofers, extensions, EV chargers, all of those things on common questions, you know, just all sort of blog type content. And that did really well, you know, but these days a lot of people are getting those answers from ChatGPT or from AI answers. So if that was a particular client of mine, I would say probably SEO isn't quite right, you know, for you anymore, because people aren't accessing that content as much. So It's all about being realistic as to what SEO can do, or whatever skill that you're offering can do, and just trying to have that sort of integrity.
So do you not have the lead gen sites anymore?
I still do, actually, yeah. They were producing a lot. They did really well. So I think at one point, you know, we're producing sort of maybe 200, 300 leads a month. So we were doing it via an affiliate scheme. So we would sell those leads on to a company who would buy those, and then they would sell them on to, you know, roofers, extensions, etc. So they still do. The traffic is probably reduced by about 90%. And they don't really make much money anymore. But again, it was just a good learning experience, a learning curve, a lesson to not put all your eggs in one basket, because you just don't know what's going to change with Google, or how people are going to search. So
if that was your whole business, you'd be probably a bit more upset sitting here now, but actually you're like, well, we just moved on and we're doing other stuff. And
I think that's what I've learned. The cycle of these projects is that everything has a cycle. You know, you start off, it will do really well. Some of the things would last a bit longer than others, but naturally you reach a point where it's like, do I continue with this, or do I see a future in this? And then you kind of make that decision, really. So the only thing that's constant for me is the work that I do with clients. So, you know, I've been working with clients for 14 years. I wouldn't want to give up working with clients for, you know, just to work solely on one of these other projects, because that's part of the job that I kind of like the most, really, is speaking with clients, understanding them as people, understanding them as problems, you know, the problems that they have in the business, and how we can solve them. So, yeah, that's definitely one of the best parts of my job.
It's the rewarding bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I've got clients all over the country. I go and see them. I've got some clients in Manchester. You know, I go up there for a few days, spend some time with them, and it's great. You know, just having that element as well.
And how have you found it? And obviously, I imagine Extra Digital helped set you up for this, but obviously now you're running your own thing. You've got to get the clients. You've got to also make sure the work gets done. You've got to make sure the invoice goes. Like, you're responsible for all of it. How do you balance that? And it sounds like the client bit's probably your favourite bit. Have you got people working for you now?
Yeah, so I've got like a small delivery team, so not necessarily employees per se, but people that I trust and have worked with for a long time to help me with certain things, like some of the more the longer tasks, the time-consuming tasks, like, you know, uploading content, or, you know, even writing content, or doing outreach, you know, to build links. So I do have a small sort of team with that. Same with the finance side. So I work with an accountant. She handles all of the bookkeeping, the invoicing, that sort of thing.
Brilliant.
And yeah, like I'd say that that's probably the most difficult thing, because you're in a constant balance of, okay, I need clients to be able to get money in, but I need also to maintain what I'm doing, and I need to deal with the business side of things, the sales side of things. I think I've just been really lucky enough to work a lot from referrals. So I would do well for a particular client, they would refer me to, you know, someone else or one of their other businesses. So I've not had to worry too much on the sales side of things. So I don't spend a huge amount of time like on the sales side.
That's good.
So yeah, I try to focus most of my time on what are the highest value things that I can do, what can be delegated to someone else. And the highest value things are usually the strategy side of things. So what are we actually doing for clients? That's my, you know, the thing that I would do, and then I would bring people together to try and make it happen, really. So yeah, that's where I spend most of my time.
Love that. Have you ever thought about running your own business?
Not really. I've had moments where I'll be like, oh yeah, I could probably do something alongside of school just to, you know, get that experience in and
sell some
get
fidget
stuff done.
spinners on a website.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got some stock if you need it.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't buy from this man. He's too good a businessman. Yeah. No, but I mean, have you ever considered that you can just go create a website?
Yeah, I have created. I did do one for my coursework in GCSE, but it was really stressful. So I was going to ask you, what are like the common factors that make like these website things so well, like that actually are so successful?
As in terms of setting up a website and what the design side of things, and I would say practice, really. So a website is never finished, as we would know. So a lot of the times I would see someone think, okay, I've got an idea, I want to do this particular thing, I want to set up a website for it. The website that they start up setting up a website, it's not perfect, so they're forever tweaking it, you know, they're forever changing it, you know, okay, this needs to go here, this needs to go here, actually we need this. The best thing to do is just get something out, you know, call it an MVP, minimal viable product, get it out and improve on it over time. So, you know, if it's an e-commerce store, you should have seen the first e-commerce store that I did for the spinners. It was awful.
Have we got any screenshots? Because I mean, we can put them up on screen
sure I can find
afterwards.
It on the Wayback Machine or something, so you can see like your old websites in like a website archive thing. It was terrible, and I think, how are people buying from this? You know, it's a really, really awful site, and it just goes to show sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect when you put stuff out. You know, you can just put something out. People might use it. People might interact with it. If people are, then great. Then you can build on it, and it'll get even better. So, yeah, that's what I would say is the biggest tip.
Yeah, just get started, get it out, and keep building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good tip, I think.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it when you created one at GCSE?
It was things. I think I would have enjoyed it so much more than I did, but that was because we had to use Dreamweaver, which was one that was just like I'd be asking my teachers, oh yeah, I had the idea to put on like audio transcripts and things because I had to do like inclusivity, and most of the time I'd ask my teachers, oh yeah, how do I do this, and they'd be like, I don't know. and you're like, oh, that's really helpful.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that AI is so good for these days, because if you have a problem like that, especially a technical problem, you can ask it and it will give it to you. So even more so these days, you've got things like Claude. Loads of people are using Claude to build websites and things.
Yeah.
People don't have I don't have a design background or a coding background per se. I know how to put up a WordPress site, but now you can go onto Claude and say, okay, this is the website that I want to build. This is how I want it to look. Build it for me. I need to put this audio transcript on. Give you recommendations on how I can do it. It will give it to you. These are the things that we would suggest, and then it will go and implement it for you. So I think now is the best time for anyone who's looking to build their own thing, or if they've got a creative idea that they've always thought, yeah, do you know, I really want to do that, but I just don't know how to do it. Now is the best time to do it, for sure, and the easiest time to do it.
I think the only cautionary thing that I say, that because I keep seeing, because everyone now can code, just because you can doesn't mean that you definitely know, is it secure?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Because that's the thing, isn't it? I think it says, yeah, I've built it for you, here you go. And you're like, oh, it looks good. And, oh, I could actually buy, yeah, that works. But actually, is it definitely secure? Because that's what scares me at the moment with AI. People, because you don't, as you said earlier, you don't know what you don't know. And that's fine if it's something that's going to affect only you, but actually if you don't know what you don't know and you've put something live that then suddenly the customers on it, all their details are getting published somewhere on the web, and I don't know, something fraudulent ends up happening, you're going to be really, really upset what's happened there, and you could get into trouble. And I do think there's a responsibility that the AI companies have to just make sure that they're putting some kind of safeguards in place, that when it is coding things, if someone doesn't have that knowledge and doesn't know what to ask to know, have I ticked all these boxes? We need something there to help people, because otherwise I think we're going to see a lot of little mini disasters.
Absolutely, yeah, and we've seen there's lots of examples of it, it's like leaks and things. I just think 100%. I think I'm in a good position because I've been doing this 14 years, so I kind of know the pitfalls, whereas if you're going into it for the first time, there's so much that you don't know. I think the AI is very useful for helping you just to get started, but then you will need to have like a serious. You still need your developers, the people who are very experienced in this industry to support you. I think you can take it up to a certain way with AI, but you'll need the final sort of 50-60% would need to be professionally done.
Definitely. And I think that's why, because everyone keeps going, all the jobs are going to disappear. They're not. They're just going to change. Like, we're talking about it as like augmentation. It is that it's going to be humans working with AI. It's not going to be that the jobs don't exist completely anymore. It's just going to be a change in how we work.
Yeah. I think it's everyone's role. You'll be able to do more within your specific role. I think that because everyone has the panic, especially with the AI search stuff. You think, oh, am I going to be in a job 5 years time doing SEO? Everyone has gone through that, that thought, and the more you think about it, the more it goes on. I don't know if you've ever tried to do SEO with just AI before. It just doesn't understand certain things. It won't understand the nuances of your clients. There's so many soft skills behind working, and I think the technical skills are a big part of it, but I actually think it's a smaller part of it. I think the bigger part of it is, can you work with clients? Can you translate their needs to like a strategy? Can you navigate the nuances of the politics within their company? There's certain things that you can and can't do. Not every SEO campaign is straightforward. I can publish a load of content. Doesn't work that way. Can you overcome some of the issues that happen on typical client accounts? So can you sell your ideas as well to a client? There's so much that AI can't do from an SEO point of view, or from any job point of view. So AI will help to automate some of the technical side of things, but you'll still need to learn the rest of it.
Definitely. Are you using AI at school?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, pretty much, especially when it comes to Like, what I'll do is I'll do the work myself, but then it's just like that. I guess that's that extra tip, like the extra thing to be like, oh yeah, how could I just improve? It's just this little bit more, just to analyse it for me.
That's really good. What's your AI of choice?
ChatGPT, sometimes Gemini. I think it just depends on what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Because I think ChatGPT doesn't always get it right.
No.
And then same with Gemini. That's something I think is important, so that they don't always get it right, and that is something that needs to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, and it's really good. It's good to hear that you know that, from your being in year 12, because that's the key. And I think the danger was everyone using ChatGPT thinking it's 100% correct most of the time. So it's really good to hear that students like yourself understand that ChatGPT gets things wrong.
Yeah.
It will, if you feed it the wrong information. Sometimes ChatGPT is a bit of a yes man. So you'll ask it something, it'll go, yeah, that's a great idea. And then you'll ask it the opposite question and say, tell me reasons why this isn't a good idea. It will say, this isn't a good idea because of all these things. I don't think you should do it. So, yeah, you have to understand that you're speaking to a machine that doesn't really have all the answers.
Yeah, I do think the training around how to use AI well, I think we've all been given this tool. Most people have got access in some way or another, whether it's on your phone or your laptop, a paid account or not. And it's like, oh yeah, you just type in the box and see what it says. But it's like, it's so much more than that to use it responsibly and to actually work out how you get to working with it like a buddy. It's a sparring partner. It's incredible for when you are working on your own and you want some feedback, but also you don't just want it to be a yes person. You don't want it to just say, that's brilliant, because that's not very helpful if actually it's not. No, for sure. And I think that's really important because, you don't want ChatGPT or any LLMs to kind of be yes people. You want to learn how ChatGPT or Claude or everything works and then figure out how you can get your way of thinking, it to replicate your way of thinking rather than allowing it to kind of just think and go for itself. So that's what we're doing on the SEO side of things. There are certain ways that you would optimize content. You need to be able to train AI to do those things and to follow the strict guidelines to be able to get any sort of decent output. You can't just go to ChatGPT and say, here's the URL, optimize this content. There's definitely ways that you can use AI to improve what you're doing, but giving it too much autonomy is just a recipe for disaster, really. Yeah, we're the brilliant humans. We need to stay in control.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the main word. It's just control. You don't want to hand over control to something that you don't know is what it's doing. You kind of just really need to have as tight as guardrails as possible. On the user.
But then the way you can train them to work as agents, like we're just launching, we've got an agent that's going to be helping us with our sales pipeline. So in a perfect world, prior to an agent being able to do this, you would keep an eye on your sales pipeline by thinking, okay, I'm trying to sell to Mike. What's Mike up to? Has he shared anything on LinkedIn? Has his company published anything? What's going on in his industry? What might give me a good reason to reach back out to Mike to have a conversation and to show that I'm interested in Mike? But if you've got 100 companies and 100 Mikes in your pipeline, you can't do that at scale as an individual. So we've got an agent that's just about to start doing that kind of activity for us.
Yeah.
It won't contact Mike. It will just tell me, you should contact Mike, and these are the things I'd say. Here's a draft. And then it's up to me as the human to go, do I want to? Does that feel like a good thing? Has it come up with a good idea for me? So it'd be really interesting. I mean, this is new. We're doing this soon to see actually what it does come up with and how often it's good and how often it's not. But how incredible to have technology to be able to do that kind of activity that previously would have been unmanageable.
Just a quick note from me. We'd love you to hit the subscribe button. This helps us more than you might realise when it comes to growing this podcast, ensuring we can bring you the best guests possible. Thank you. Back to the episode.
Automating those sorts of long tasks that you would do anyway, but AI can just do that, whilst you sleep, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the power of it. And I think there's a danger of, because it's going to improve your productivity. There's a danger though that because so first, when I first started using Claude, for example, I was so into it. I was spending late nights just trying to program it. This is what I'm doing. Trying to get it to do certain things. And I was just working till sort of 10 o'clock every day, just trying to figure out this AI stuff. I think that then I realized, this AI is supposed to help us to be more productive and help us to spend time on the things that matter, with the clients, the things that move the needle. I shouldn't be spending too much time on AI for AI's sake, if that makes sense. So, yeah, I think it's really important that you use AI, but try not to make it your life sort of thing. Try to keep perspective that there are other important tasks that you need to be doing.
Yeah. Don't fall down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you can fall down the rabbit hole with it. I love it. I love using it.
It is brilliant.
Similar use cases to you. That I do. There's lots of steps that I would do to optimize a page of content, for example. So there was maybe like 3 or 4 tools that I would use. You can now plug all of those tools into we're using what we call an MCP, and then speak to all of those tools from the AI. So, for example, you can create an agent to say, step 1, go to this tool, get the data from this particular platform, output a file. Step 2, use that file to do further research on this particular thing or identify, the keywords or the intent of this particular thing. Step 3. So you can basically create a workflow with AI agents, the same workflow that you were doing anyway.
Yeah.
But you're using AI to do it, and the output of it is pretty amazing if you're able to get it right. So
it's incredible.
Yeah, it's definitely a tool, but it's a tool that you need to impart your own knowledge to use. And
I think actually what's interesting there is you've really broken it down. So you're not just saying, I want you to help me optimize this page. You're going, I need you to do this. Once you've done that, do this. So you've got to clearly know your own process first as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you do it in the wrong order and it doesn't work.
Yeah, and AI has a habit of just ignoring stuff as well if it doesn't understand what you're saying. So you have to be very explicit and say, this is what you need to do at each stage. And you can structure it now that you can get it to kind of read files and have almost like a memory of what your processes are.
Yeah.
So it's a repeatable thing. So I don't have to train it again the next time. I say, remember this process that we did, do it again, but with this.
Yeah.
And it will output it, as you want it. So yeah, definitely an efficiency time saver.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying using it.
Love that. Are there any other crazy entrepreneurial stories we've not heard about that might spark some ideas?
Yeah, so my girlfriend at the time, wife now, came home from work and said, I've been looking for these leggings, I can only get them in America. So like the light bulb goes
you were
on.
off, you were like...
Keyword research, I was looking for these particular types of leggings. You couldn't get them in the UK, but there were people searching for them. So again, it's the power of digital and the skills that you've learned. You can see what people are searching for or how much, the volume that people are using this particular keyword in a month. So yeah, we did the same thing. So take the learnings from the fidget spinner, get a website up, a terrible website, get some stock in, stick it up there, see how it does, optimize the website.
Knowing about all the customs and everything this time around.
Yeah, factoring that into your calculations. I think at the start it's like you don't worry too much about how much money you're making. It's like, can I make this work? And then you figure it out later. And it worked. So yeah, the website was scrunchleggings.com at first, and then we actually transitioned into a brand called House of Peach. And so we were selling gym wear leggings. I think we were one of the first in the UK to sell this particular type of legging. And that's the thing. A lot of these big sort of gym wear companies, are big companies in general, they will be slower to react and to jump on that trend, to organise themselves to get content up, to do all those things. So because I'm able to just get up a website quickly, obviously make sure it's secure, put in place those learnings, was able to get something up quite quickly. And it turned into quite serious project after a
Yeah.
while. So
Is it still going now?
No, it's not going now anymore. So we did really well, especially during sort of like the COVID times when no one could go to the shops. You know, we were making a fair amount of sales. A lot of our sales were international though, and after Brexit, there was a lot of rules, a lot of red tape basically around selling to the US, selling to all kinds. So we sold products in Africa, we sold products all over the world really, and
I guess that is another interesting thing, isn't it? You can be doing all the things right, but actually then something changes from a government point of view, and then suddenly your model isn't working as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a similar thing to what happened with the lead generation sites.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be comfortable knowing that this is good now, but what does the future hold? For what I'm doing. So yeah, I really enjoyed that project. I think we had it for maybe like 5 years. Me and my wife worked on it, and I just found it amazing how we were getting all these sales from all over the world. It was just me in the house with Chloe. Like, the stock wasn't like in a cupboard like this. We were packaging it, going to the post office. We had a bit of a slicker operation, going a couple of years down the line. But it's just amazing how something that you can build from your head can influence people to buy.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily care too much as to where that you're a person in a room just selling these things.
House of Peach, they think it's this huge brand, but
it's a perception
Mike and
thing.
Chloe from their spare bedroom.
It was. So there's obviously a responsibility that you have to take with that. You have to be able to deliver on what you're saying. You can't take people's money and not do anything with it. It's as long as they're getting their goods. I think we got some really good, some great packaging. We tried to make it like an experience of them like opening the packet. We had like some nice tissue in there and some stuff to like take photos of, and it was we were sort of building up to be like a really, really good brand. But yeah, as I said, with Brexit taking over, but also that was at the time that my freelance and consulting stuff was really sort of taken up as well. So I had to kind of make that decision as to where do I want to focus my energy.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest thing. The hardest thing is when you have so many interests and so many things that you want to do, how do you focus on? What do you focus on?
Yeah.
And that's always been a challenge.
Yeah, it's dangerous if you've got too much, because you'll end up not doing anything particularly well because you can't put the time into it. So something that I'm still learning. Just trying to focus my energies. Every day it's like, I want to do this. Like, I've had this cool idea for a website, and I think as I said, with AI, like, you can get it up quite quickly, but it's not just getting a website up. You've got to do lots of thinking. Something else has to suffer to be able to get it up. So I suppose my advice to people starting out is just try new things, try different things, but have one thing that you're really trying to focus on, and become really good at that thing. It's really good advice.
Yeah.
Is this making you want to go and start building something?
The thing is, I think especially with social media, like, it's definitely helpful because you can spot trends so easily on social media and go, oh, that's something that is going to be going quite well. And then you can, with like obviously the website development, you can just pick that up and make something, like you said, like the other day, not exist and then just exist the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the world that we're living in these days. Is you've got one person. I think we had the first £1 billion one person company this year, or maybe it was last year. Someone who had built something like an Apple. I can't remember what it was, to be honest.
I saw that.
Yeah, and you just think, wow, that's the world that we're living in now. It's like, if you have something of value, you have an idea, the barriers to entry to get that idea into the world are the lowest that they've ever been. And you can reach so many people, with social media. People will come to you directly. There's so much value that you can provide to so many people that anyone can kind of go out and do it if they have that, you know, that belief in their idea. But that's not to say that careers are not valuable, because everything I've learned has come from my work careers, you know, like the jobs that I've worked in, the people that I've met. Lots of my work has come from the people that I have, you know, relationships with in Reflect, for example. So, and there's just that's the place that you kind of learn your trade. So I always say to people, you don't have to go down this entrepreneurial route straight out of uni. In fact, I probably would, unless you're like a Mark Zuckerberg, then just ignore that. But, you know, spend the time learning your skills, building your network in companies, and then kind of have your side projects and things that you're working on.
Yeah, it's kind of timing it right, isn't it? Because I always agree with you. I think you should never start running something, not something that you want to be really serious, without having gone and been an employee, known what it's felt like, been able to kind of be around, ideally in a smallish company, so you're seeing how things operate. You'll never know it all, but it'll just give you a bit more grounding. But then you also need to time it right, that if you wait too long and you've got too much responsibility and a mortgage or kids or things like that, then it becomes really hard to start, because it's so risky, because you're like, I've got so much responsibility around me. So it's that you got to find the timing right.
I think so. And I think it was one of the things I learned from you, actually. So I think when you started Reflect, was it you were 24?
24, yeah, about that.
And that's a great age to start something, because you've been in agencies, you know, you had worked, you know, for some time. That's the sort of time that I started to experiment with things as well. You know, before you get that sort of big mortgage, you want to combine your experience with your ideas. So yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah, I think it's just, it's getting the oomph to do it. But I think experimenting, having some kind of side hustle, just even if it's selling things locally, or as you started, selling things on the playground when you're really young, like that's really cool. Like a friend of mine sent me a photo the other day of his daughter running a bracelet stand outside their house.
Oh, that's amazing.
And she's like 7 or something, and I was like, yes, that's great, because actually to be starting to kind of think about that, and then, well, how long did it take you to make that bracelet, and how much did the beads cost? Okay, so what you're going to sell it for, and start thinking about pricing something. But also I made all these things, and people gave me money, and I've now got pocket money to go and spend on. And then actually you might go and spend it on yourself, or you might buy more stuff to be able to make more, to sell more. And it's just actually that is how the world goes round. Like, there's tons of things that make it a bit more complicated and nuanced and whatnot, but actually that is how the world goes round. We've got to make things or sell services that are valuable to others, that people want, and you got to sell it for a profit to be able to be sustainable. Like, if you can't make a profit, that's not going to work.
100%. And I think that's a good point on the having something that you're selling, you know, of value to other people. I think like there are loads of ways that you can make money online that aren't particularly, they're not long-term things, you know, they are not particularly offering much value to people, but those things get found out quite quickly, and you kind of burn out with it. You know, there's so many people who are trying to do those sorts of things. But I think it's really interesting now that people can make money from their own interests. So if you have a particular skill, you grew up with a particular skill that traditionally, I'm not going to make any money from that.
Yeah.
Or your parents might have told you, you know, in good intention, you know, you shouldn't really pursue that because you're not going to be making any money in that. You can now. So if you've got a particular, I was listening to a story the other day about someone who is making 20 grand a month or so just on like kettlebell workouts. So they had a particular problem. They had I don't know what it was. It's like a physical issue. They developed this kettlebell program to be able to help with this particular issue. Now they're selling that as like a course for other people who have that particular issue. So
wow.
You're exchanging, there's a value exchange because, you know, someone's buying or giving you money for something that you've learned and from your experience. So yeah, it's not even necessarily a case of, oh, what can I sell? It's like, what from your personal experience would people value?
Yeah.
And I think nowadays you can kind of make money off that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good point.
Mm.
Really good point. What else? Are there any other questions that you've got on how you get started, or what it's like running your own company? Or
I just think, like, have you got like advice for students, obviously at our age, because we have got studies and things, like what could we do starting like now to get into that sort of thing?
It has to get into the entrepreneurship, or more so like digital careers?
Either.
Okay, so I would advise anyone who is looking to do a digital or to get into a digital career to maybe do like an internship. So, you know, like Reflect does. We had a lot of interns in over the years. You have to go in and see whether you like it, you know, and immerse yourself in an agency and to see what it's like in the agency, what it, you know, the culture, because you know, you don't necessarily know whether you like it or not at that point. So that's definitely something that I would advise to do first. From an entrepreneurship point of view, is I suppose just think about whether that is something that you want to do, whether that's something that's interested. Not everyone is pulled in that direction, especially not initially. You have to kind of explore your ideas and think, you know, if there's something that I have in my head that I've been thinking about for a long time, don't be afraid to try and get those out into the open, or speak to someone who has done that before.
trying to find a mentor, I think, or someone is... Because have you had mentors along the way?
Not explicitly people who would know that they are my mentor, I suppose.
I think that happens so often, though, doesn't it? That they don't. It doesn't have to be you don't have to write an agreement up. Can you sign this? You are my mentor. But actually, there's people, and I can think of people that you've been close with that I imagine have been influential both ways. Because actually, mentoring works in both directions. You tend to be helping each other. Yeah,
100%. So you know, even at Reflect, just looking at what you and Paul had done over that time. There's people online, so there's a couple of YouTube guys that I follow. You know, YouTube's great. You can find people who you resonate with and just try to emulate what they're doing. So there's a couple of SEO guys who are SEO guys, but they do other projects as well. They had like e-commerce stores, so you know, doing that sort of thing, similar to what I had been doing. I don't really have a specific mentors. I feel like you can learn things from anyone.
Yeah.
So there are certain people who have been in my journey who I've seen. Sylvan, for example, you know.
That's who I was thinking of. And we both will use Sylvan, but Sylvan will use us, not in a using way, but as a sounding board, as someone for ideas. So he was one of our colleagues for many years at Reflect, and he's gone on to do great things, and he had a side hustle that ended up becoming his permanent hustle that he ended up selling, and he now works for a different company, and he's been on an amazing, and actually we should get him on the podcast. He'll hate it, I think this is the call for him to come on the podcast.
Absolutely, he's got so much to offer, for
he
sure.
He has, but he'd be like, I'm not your mentor, and vice versa. We'd all probably say the same thing, but actually we're all supporting each other, and it's that person that you could just reach out to and ask questions. Yeah,
for sure. And I think it's usually someone who has done what you're trying to do, or is maybe one step further than you are currently. So for you, for example, it could be someone who has just been in their first 1 or 2 years of their career, you know, and trying to get their insights from them and what they have learned, and then it will progress over time. You know, you always have to learn from the people who have been there before.
Yeah, you kind of don't want to jump too far. Like, as great as it would be to have a chat with Richard Branson, he's kind of got so much experience that, like, you'd have a lovely chat, but it wouldn't necessarily transpire back into what you could necessarily do tomorrow. Whereas if you find that person that's one step ahead, it's like, like I recently, like just 3 months ago, I did this.
Yeah.
You should go do that now. And you're like, okay, cool. Because actually, when people ask me about when we first started now, I'm like, it's so long ago. It's really hard. Like, there's things that I remember and there's anecdotes and stories. But actually, that being really in that first phase, 15 years ago. God, I'm old.
Yeah, so that was a long time ago. But,
Long time
those
ago.
were really exciting times, right? You know,
Yeah, yeah.
in the old office.
I know, yeah, and the fact that you never worked in this office, did
No,
you?
I never worked in this
but weirdly,
office,
you
no.
worked downstairs. So we're filming this in our office today, and Mike had an office
Yeah.
a couple of floors down at one point,
yeah.
which is really funny. But again, like for me, it's amazing to be like, I still remember when we hired Mike. I won't talk about your first day story. We'll keep that out of the podcast.
Yeah, maybe. We'll talk off air.
Yeah, I'll share that later. But what was I going to say? Like that was just your second full-time job at that point. And I remember we could see in you the entrepreneurship. Like I think you probably would have mentioned it in your interview, some of the things you've been up to, but to see where Mike is now is incredible. Like it's brilliant to see, and it's one of those things, isn't it? People will go on and grow and do all these different things, but actually, when you've worked somewhere where you've built a good relationship, you always come back. And actually, we refer loads of work to Mike where we're like, actually, this doesn't quite fit us. It'll be a much better fit for Mike. Some of it he's probably like, that's also not a good fit for me, but who knows.
No,
but
I'm really grateful for it, you know.
Well, you throw your hat in the ring, you see what's out there. It's good. You want to see the opportunities, but
yeah. And as I said, going back to what I was saying about working for companies first before you go out and do your own stuff, because you know those are the people that are going to support you when you do your own stuff if you work for the right companies.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Because there's some companies that we've got a culture of, we love it if the team members have got a side hustle and we'll really, really back them and help them if we can. There's some companies that aren't so progressive in their thinking and they'd see it as, oh no, I want you to be fully focused. And it's like, well, no, I still want the person to be fully focused when they come to work here. But actually, if they're learning entrepreneurship skills elsewhere and they can bring it back, then that's fantastic to be able to use. So
yeah, I think that's it. You know, you want your employees
bring it into your work.
To be experimenting with stuff outside of the not restrictions of what they can do day to day, but you know, outside of what they're doing day to day, because that's how you improve over time. They introduce those new ideas to the team,
definitely,
and you grow. So, yeah.
Is there anything you've not told us that you think I wish I'd said, or I think the next generation need to know?
Ooh,
we've covered a lot, so we might have done it all.
Yeah, other than what I said in terms of the next generation have such a great opportunity to be themselves. You know what? I think that's the biggest thing. Like, even when I was growing up or working for a company, sometimes the first company that I worked for, I didn't really feel like I could be myself, you know. But I think this new generation has a chance to be 100% themselves and know that the value that they're bringing to companies is them and their personality and their individual ideas and unique things that they like, you know, their unique interests. I think that's really something that I would double down on. Just learning who you are as a person. I know, you know, you're in year 12 and that takes a long time to do that. But I think that's what I would advise someone of your age.
Love that.
Whether you can use that for a podcast, I'm not sure.
You definitely can. Yeah, no, I think that is the world we're in now. Like, you can, and there's still some companies out there where you probably still can't be yourself so much, and you might not mind that. It might be okay for where you want to go. It might be the kind of thing you're going to have to do. I don't know if you say wanting to be a lawyer, or you're going to have to show up as the professional lawyer and put your professional lawyer face on for the day. But actually, there's a lot of companies now where you just bring the same face that you woke up out of bed with, and you will be thanked for that, welcomed for that, and wanted for that. So
I think Reflect is the first place that I felt comfortable in that. And it's interesting you say that, because everything is getting, you know, so much more AI, tech driven, all of that sort of stuff. But it's the human element that is the thing that really sets you aside when, you know, in this AI world. if it comes to two offerings, for example, if I'm pitching up against someone else, the offering might be the same, the tech might be the same, the processes might be the same, but what really wins it is, do they like me and my individual way of working, my individual personality, or us, or someone else. I think that comes down to the differentiating factor. So yeah, I think definitely develop yourself personally, and that will set you apart for sure.
Love it. Some really solid advice.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think just it's quite encouraging to know, obviously, about being yourself. Because obviously, it is very scary thinking of like what is next, and it's very much you can get lost in pretty much what you need to do rather than just also being yourself. It's quite like encouraging to know that.
Yeah.
Quite freeing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good. This has been brilliant. Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. No, I really enjoyed it.
It is brilliant to reflect on all the different things that you've done over the years, and the fun side projects as well. And I think everyone will have taken a lot from that.
Yeah, brilliant.
So
thank you very much as well. It feels like a full circle
yeah,
moment.
it does a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
And thank you so much, Kaya. You've been an amazing co-host. So
Thank you
I'm
for
hoping
having
you're
me.
going to come back and join us again very soon, maybe even on next episode, I reckon. And thank you so much to the audience for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please share it across all your socials, tell your friends about it, and we hope to see you on another episode of Behind the Future. That concludes another brilliant episode of Behind the Future. Thank you so much for listening. You can listen back to other episodes on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, as that will help us to grow this podcast, ensuring we can get the best guests on here for you to learn from. You can also follow us on socials, linked in the show notes for exclusive content. See you on the next episode.